All right. Well, it's October already. I don't know where the time went, but winter is near. It's something I tell the players all the time. So today we decided to delay our official training camp. I know people say official practice, but for us, we look at it as a training camp, a week, just because we played in Europe this summer, and the expectation is for us to go deep in the season, and so, I wanted to build that anticipation, but at the same time give our players a chance to rest, reset, and prepare for the transition. As far as this group, Team 49, super excited about the different pieces that we have. I felt like as a staff, we worked really hard to fill some gaps. I know I've read the articles about our shooting. I agree. But a lot of people around the country have noticed that we felt like we tried to fix that with the addition of Kirsten and Toddy, but also our freshmen as well that people don't know much about, especially our Serbian Maria shoots the ball pretty well. So tough schedule. I don't know who to blame for that. I'm still trying to figure that out, but we got a pretty tough schedule ahead of us. But overall, excited about our group.
Coach, I hate to ask the first question and not be about basketball, but uh, you talk about where did the time go? Where did the weight go? I
I,
mean, you look great. What happened?
yeah, I mean, so after the season, we were everywhere on TV and whatnot. First of all, thank you. And I just decided that I needed to take control of my image. So, not to body shame anybody else, it was just personally for me. And I also took it personal to kind of set an example for our players from a discipline standpoint. I'd like to say that Lane motivated me for a couple years ago, but that'd be a lie. It's really the discipline for my team and just for myself. So, after a lot of celebration from the season, I decided to just lock down and really start to focus on my health.
Through playing in like the summer and everything else along those lines, with how last year went with y'all making that kind of that deep run, do you think that has kind of impacted y'all's confidence with what you've seen through the summer, and how can that kind of help y'all for this year as a group? You think seeing like, okay, like we've been down there,
Right.
we're so close, we can get there
Right.
again.
Well, John, you've been here with us from the jump, so we have come a long way. All of you all have been here with me from 0 and 16, those years, right? So I think our confidence got built every year. From us going to the WNIT championship, to NCAA tournament, now to the Sweet 16. So I'd be lying if I didn't say that this new batch of players, they expect that. And obviously, I'd like to think people in the country expect that. But one of the things we talk about to our players are just making sure that we don't fall into the pitfalls after having a season like that, which is, complacency, right? Just the inability to handle the spotlight, and then ego. So those are the three things as a staff we talk about with our team, so that they can just focus on being present and just doing what they need to do this year to create their own legacies like the other teams have done.
In this transfer portal era, teams adding new players every year. For you, adding those three, how important was this summer to kind of maybe put you ahead of schedule from where you may have been starting from scratch today?
Well, last year we had 8 new players. I think people forget that. So, like, I'm into the portal. I'm a portalista, all right? So, but we have 5 freshmen. So if anything is incredibly different, it would be the youthfulness that we have this year. But they're all talented in their own right. I thought we did a great job of getting under the radar. I call them the handy Andy All-Americans, all right? And I think our fans will love them. But as far as, the group, we're not even close to where I expect us to look in January or even November.
Do you feel like you have a grasp of what this team's identity
Yeah.
is going to be yet?
Yeah, for sure. I think I feel confident saying this is the toughest team I've had. And I know that people say, when they describe us, right, they describe us as gritty, defensive-minded, and we're going to be that. That's never going to change. But this is the most competitive group that I've had. Team 49, they don't take a play off. I mean, and I think it's just because the talent has increased. So everybody has to bring their A game every single day. They are fearless. And they are willing, they have big, big goals. You know, I think 3 years ago, we just wanted to get to the tournament. We didn't care how, you know, by bus or if we had to walk, you know. This team is like, nah, we have bigger things. We feel like we're going to get to the tournament. And that's a great place to be. I'm in year 6. I don't know that I would be standing here if we weren't at this place right now, right? Let's just be honest. So, I mean, that's where our program is right now, and I'm pretty pleased with it.
You occupy some pretty lofty air in some of these preseason polls out there. If you had to rank this group, you feel like that's about right?
From what they're judging on, yes. But, you know, because they hadn't seen anything, so they're looking at what Kirsten has done at Florida, and they're looking at what Toddy has done at North Carolina, and bringing Snudda and Maddie and you know, Marquisha back. So from the outside, I think it's pretty fair. You know, for us to think that, here's the thing, like, I'm not going to be the coach that sits around and says, you know, rat poison, rat poison, rat poison. Like, we really worked our butts off to start getting some respect around the country. Now, so should we be up there as far as being noticed? Yes. Numbers and rankings, I try to stay away from because I see these chicks every day. And I can tell you, we have a lot of work to do.
What are you asking out of Maddie this season, or what are you expecting out of her?
Yeah.
Just everything she's done, but this year, what are you asking out of her?
Great question. I think with USA basketball, the experience, like Maddie just playing 3v3, and then Snudda, Yana, and Kui went and represented us. That 3v3 experience has been huge. You know, Maddie just finished her last tour in Montreal just a couple weeks ago. So she has been around high-level athletes, and I think she has picked up, you know, stuff from them, but also playing against one team they played, they had a 40-year-old on it, you know, and I'm 40, but she was like in shape 40, you know what I mean? So she definitely has a level of maturity, but I think people forget, like, Maddie's a senior. So this is her 4th year. Her and Snudda have been with me from the beginning. And so what do I expect from them? I expect them to lead and be mature and understand the Ole Miss way and what that looks like in depth, you know, more than even our highly touted transfers. You know, those two have been here from the beginning.
I want to ask you a recruiting question. How has last year's success and the run through the tournament affected how y'all are being received now by not just portal recruits, but high school recruits?
Well, I think it has helped, but I can tell you this: like, I don't know that I'm going to change my philosophy. I really think that our staff have figured out what works for us here at Ole Miss, and that's just not always going to be that 5-star player all the time. Now, would I love to have one fall out of the tree? I asked Santa, so I'm trying to behave so I can get one in the next cycle. But at the same time, we're looking for student athletes that are highly motivated, highly competitive, and have something to prove. And those will always fit me, and they'll fit our program.
When you took this job 100 years ago, or however it's been,
Crock-pot style back then.
you came in definitively behind your arch rival, Mississippi State, in terms of success and recruiting and everything. How do you feel like you've closed that gap?
It's hard to talk about like closing a gap because they've had 3 new coaches, right? So, and if I remember correctly, I think Ole Miss overall is still in the lead when it comes to win-loss. So I just think for us, we are a program now that is respected amongst our colleagues in the Southeastern Conference. And now we're starting to garner some respect around the country. But November is going to tell a lot about my team and where we are and where we need to go. Do we want to be playing our best basketball in November? Absolutely not. But it is an incredible opportunity with Oklahoma, Louisville, and going to the battle for Atlantis for us to maybe show everybody, even ourselves, where we are.
How have you seen Snuda this offseason?
Yeah.
Getting into here, maybe where she maybe pressed too much at times last season. How have you seen her kind of?
Just Snuda's maturity has been incredible. You know, I had the opportunity to personally work with her this summer. And so, you know, we worked a lot on things that she's always wanted to do, but maybe not have had the time to be able to do it. And so I just think what you'll see from her is just a level of, like, I've been here. You know, I understand the Southeastern Conference, the schedule. I know what Coach Yo wants. I feel like she was still trying to figure that out, but now she's fully confident. And it's funny calling them seniors because they have an extra year, but that'll be a conversation for another day.
With so many new faces, give us a scouting report on what we should expect. What kind of team are you guys going to be this year?
Well, I think some of the things that will remain consistent, we're going to guard. We are bigger, so that we should be even better defensively. I can confidently say that that is an expectation I have, and I'm hoping my players look at this. But offensively, you know, we lost a lot of games by less than 10 points just because of a missed layup or a missed free throw or missed execution here and there. And hopefully, you know, we got 3 point guards, we got experience, and hopefully you'll see more fun on the offensive end as well. So a healthy balance, and I don't think we've had that before.
Any other questions for Coach? Great, thank you.
Coach.
Thanks.
Good